talk today is called negotiating traffic, or negotiating the traffic. And you can pretty much figure out what that's about if you think about it. Doesn't take long to figure that one out, does it? There's traffic going on here between your ears. A lot of traffic going on for each one of us. It's very much like the traffic that's going on out there on the highways and byways in our lives. We all have to do that, you know. You find the on-ramp that's yours, and you head on, and you head out to get on the freeway. They call them the freeways in the West. Here they call it the Beltway, I guess. So you get on that, and you start trying to negotiate that in order to get to where you want to go. Sometimes that's easy, and sometimes not so easy. Depends on lots of things. The time of day, the very day it is, what's going on all around you, whether or not there's a game, whether or not there's a motorcade. Many things can change the traffic pattern that's going on. Sometimes you get stuck behind a truck. Sometimes you are in a situation where over at the side of the road there's been an accident. Everybody has to stop and look, of course, and see what that is, and say, oh, wow, whatever it is else they say, and then they move right on along. And eventually you get to where you're going. But it takes some negotiation in order to do that, some slowing down, speeding up. All sorts of things occur. Changing lanes, speeding up, making turns, making decisions, deciding whether or not you can stay on this highway or detour off on another way of going. Whatever it might be. That's what each of us have to do every day, those of us who travel. You know, the same sort of things happen to us in our own minds. You know, there was a story about a gentleman who picked up his friend at the LA airport, and then they got out on the freeways and they were heading back to this man's house. And this man who lived in a smaller town, he said, my gosh, the traffic, how do you stand it? How do you do this every day? And the guy said, well, I just drive this one car. That's sort of the way we have to picture the way we allow our lives in the outer to take place. We just do what is ours to do, and just sort of allow everybody else to be who they are. But between our ears, there's something taking place every day, and it is usually a madhouse. Or it can be. It usually is. It can be a madhouse, and I think it usually is. Here's what goes on. You get in your vehicle, and you start moving. You've got a place that you must be. You've got a destination in mind. As you're heading toward that destination, you run into thought patterns along the way. One of them might be a moving van. It's moving kind of slowly. It's got in it possessions. It's carrying all sorts of old things, new things, different things. It's carrying them from one place to another. Sometimes you get stuck behind this. You want to go around it because it doesn't move very fast. And finally, you get the opportunity and you make your move and you get around it and you move on through life. That moving van is what carries for us all our memories of everything that's ever happened to us. It doesn't move too fast, and often it gets in our way. It's often right there, slowing us down for our daily need of getting where it is that we need to go. It's full of all sorts of memories. It's got within it all the past loves in our lives. It has all the tragedies in our lives. It carries with it everything that we have allowed ourselves to pack away. Memories, emotions, feelings, ideas, all things that we would love to be able to use, but we're not able to because they're in this flow packed away, moving very slowly. So most of the time we just move on past those things. But we know they're in there. We know they're there. They're part of our consciousness, our stream of consciousness. Here comes a motorcycle. He cuts in and out of traffic and he's zooming down there. He's alone. He's all by himself. He sort of creates his own traffic pattern. He sort of creates for himself that which he needs to get from his place to the other place. And he doesn't particularly care too much about the traffic laws or the speed of the other drivers or what's going on. Lives life sort of on the edge, a little dangerously. We all carry within us this guy too. We carry within us this idea of, if I just could get everybody else to do what I need them to do, life would be so much simpler and better and flow so much easier. And this is the part of us that is sort of the loner. We don't really need anybody else. We're on this bike all by ourselves, and we can go a lot faster, and we can get there a lot smoother than we can in the other vehicle. There's usually somebody riding with us in our vehicle. There's people who aren't doing any driving whatsoever. Some of them are very young and are saying, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Or there's the other person over there that's telling us constantly, "You're not doing that right. You should turn here. You should move forward. Speed up. Slow down." That person, the passenger, is in there with us, usually carrying a map with them and telling us how things should be. That's the part of our consciousness that is always in a place that is saying to us, there is this going on in reality, and then there's what ought to be going on in another sort of fake reality, in a way. It's the part of us that is always judging, always telling us how we should have done it, or how we ought to do it, as opposed to the way things are going. There's nice, new, shiny objects that catch our eye from time to time. This sort of set off in our minds a wish. I wish I was in that Mercedes. I wish that I owned that. What would it be like if I owned that? And we begin to daydream. And we daydream about things that might be, could be. And then at some point in our drive, we have to go back to where we are, drive the one car. Negotiating traffic. It goes on like this all the time. Here's the funny part about it. There's only one driver. Only one driver. Because there's only one presence and one power. But it's appearing as all of these other things and these thoughts that we hold in our mind. It appears as the truck full of memories. It appears as though it's moving slowly. How many of us go through life? Sometimes time seems to just go so slowly. Traffic does. I didn't think I'd ever get here. It just took me forever. And we say to ourselves, it was like a parking lot out there. Or it was just stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. That's occurring right here in this traffic lane that exists inside our minds. Always. Sometimes time appears to pass so slowly. Sometimes it appears that the traffic is so thick that we just can barely move through life. Other times, it's like, whoop, where'd the time go? Wow, I was really having a good time there. Those are the times in our lives, in this metaphor, that we drive and suddenly we're at our destination. Oh, is that my exit? Wow. What was I thinking about? Where was my consciousness on this trip? That's usually things that we've done so many times in our lives, we don't even think about it. We just do it. We're not conscious, not fully conscious of our surroundings or anything else. Where were we during that time? Well, we're there. The car next to us, in our mind, the driver is us. The driver of the truck that holds all those memories and all those wonderful things that we need. We think we need them because we're storing them. We're going to take them to the next place. The driver is us. Each item within there is really something that we have given meaning to. When the driver leaves the old destination and arrives at the new one, it's just like the saying that we have of, wherever you go, there you are. You eventually, wherever you're going, you end up there. And we usually carry with us all this stuff. And we unload it and unpack it and look at it and ooh and ah over it and brush it off. Very rarely do we get rid of anything. We just store it away, keep it moving in the moving van that's going on through our lives. Something needs to change just a little bit, and we are able then to negotiate this traffic smoothly every day. The thing that changes is our attitude, our consciousness about what's going on. You know, nothing is really wrong when the traffic is in a jam. And nothing is really exceptionally right when it's smooth going. It's all still going on within our consciousness, within our own traffic, the traffic that we have created for ourselves. Sometimes it just seems like chatter. Sometimes there's just so little of value going on inside our minds that it's as though all the horns of all the other cars are honking at once. When in reality, it is we, the drivers of each one of these pieces of consciousness, that can still that. Form a way of getting through life that is much easier than that which we have created. It's not exactly a wonderful thought to come to the conclusion that we have met the enemy and he is us. That the very ideas that we have that are holding us back are our own ideas and our own creation. The traffic that is jamming up our mind and our consciousness is of our own creation. We created it, we can change it, we can change the flow of traffic in our own lives anytime we wish, simply by going back to the idea of driving the one car, just being in the present moment, now, right where we are. When we do this and draw that consciousness in, then all of this in the outer sort of falls into a place that's all right. It's okay, you know. Almost every day I do quite a bit of driving. I drive on average somewhere around 100 to 200 miles a day. Might seem like a lot of miles to you, but it just seems like a day to me. Because I've gotten to the point in my mind where I'm just driving the car I'm driving. Somebody cuts me off in traffic, the same thing occurs in consciousness. I can be going along and having a thought. It's wonderful. I've got someplace to go with that thought. And suddenly some other thought comes in and cuts me off in consciousness. But it's okay. And the same thing occurs with traffic. Some people are angry drivers. Some people are aggressive drivers. Some people are cautious drivers. Some of my thoughts are angry. Some of my thoughts are aggressive. Some of my thoughts that occur in the traffic in my mind are cautious. Drive a little more slowly. But they're all mine. They're all me. The same thing occurs with each one of you. They're all you. They're all yours. Remember, though, that there is only one presence and one power. There is only one because we are all collectively connected in that oneness. So the traffic is moving. From a high, high vantage point, we would see it as one continuous flow. Some places it's a little thicker, some places a little thinner. But the stream is still there, always moving forward. The same thing occurs for each and every one of us. At times, it seems to be jamming up. At those times, relax. Return return once again to the oneness of who you are. Drive the one car. And you too will be able to get to the place where it doesn't matter how many miles you're traveling or what kind of road you're on, everything just goes smoothly in your own life. You know, the Buddha and the Christ, they understood this. They were of this consciousness that no matter what was going on, focuses on the oneness. Once we get to that point, then we too can have a peaceful, happy, joyful life, and we'll get to our destination with no wrecks occurring along the way, no frustration in our minds. We'll just allow everything to be what it is. When we can do that, then we too will be able to negotiate the traffic inside our